Hi everybody, it's Adley from That Christmas Autism Girl. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I am going to be tier listing veggietales. So, taking each of the movies and organizing them into the best versus the worst. So, and yeah, they're not in a particular order. Some of them aren't in a particular order in the particular categories because I wasn't sure which one I liked more in some of them, and some of them are. I'll just tell you as we go. Few disclaimers and FYIs. This is my opinion of only the ones I've seen. So I will talk in more detail about my favorites in future videos as a new series of videos I'm going to make on my channel. So please don't give me too big of a hard time if you disagree. Just tell me your opinion. Okay, so the first category is F. I didn't really care for. These aren't necessarily bad. They're just not my favorites. They're just not the best to me. So first we have Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed. I think I watched this one when I actually saw what rumors do. Anyway, I was just tired of the story of Junior messing up and Larry Boy fixing it. I just didn't learning how to fix it. I just didn't care for it. I think it's important lesson for kids to know that rumors can be harmful. And that you should always seek the truth before you believe and spread a rumor. I think that's an important lesson, just not one of my favorites. Next we have Abe and the Amazing Promise. This is another Junior needs to learn a lesson. I like the patient lesson, but some of the parts of Abraham isn't really a kid's story, like him having a baby with Hagar when he got impatient with God, and then yeah. And I didn't really love the second segment, but I did like the studio idea was kind of fun, but this is why it's in the F category. Next we have Sweet Pea Beauty. I get what they're trying to say here and help little girls who don't necessarily feel beautiful. Okay, I liked the different fairy tales being brought into the story as well. Like Cinderella, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White. It's very interesting. But okay, so yes, character matters more than how we look. However, we need to take care of our bodies as the temple that God has given us. And yes, we do want to look our best. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look our best. I think as usual it's about balance. I actually think that when I first saw it, I thought it's easy for those who are beautiful to think that it doesn't matter. Of course, we want to value our character first, and of course our heart matters more than anything to God, because it says in the Bible God looks at the heart. But I also think that it's okay to look your best and want to be beautiful. I just don't know how I feel about this one. I think it's about balance, because yes, our character matters more than how we look, and it's great for insecure girls. So yeah, that's why it's at the bottom though. Next we have Jonah. So this is the first theatrical movie. I liked parts of it a lot. However, they portrayed Jonah as scared of Nineveh, which was like weird, because in the Bible it's very clear that he didn't want God's mercy to be shed on Nineveh, which I think misses the point, and the angels being in the belly of the whale kind of took away from the story. Although I liked the song was okay. And his sermon being long and compassion also mentions the point that his sermon was only 5 words in Hebrew and 8 in English. He didn't really tell them what to do about the coming in the original story. He didn't tell them, oh, repent or you'll be destroyed. He just said 40 days and you'll be destroyed. And so, yeah, I think it just misses the point. Jonah, I liked the compassion and mercy idea, and that in the end he cared more for the plant than the people, but it just kind of didn't quite land for me. Okay, so next we have D, all right. So these are ones that are a little better than the F category, but not quite as good as some of the others. So we have Sherlock Holmes and the Golden Ruler. I didn't really like this one, but the silly song of the gated community where he's looking for his ball redeems the show from being in the F category, in my opinion. But it's still not my favorite. For sure. So, I just think this one's just okay, you know. Then we have King George and the Ducky. So, I get the point of this one, which is about selfishness and kindness. But the story it's based on is David and Bathsheba, which is definitely not a kid's story. I mean, he basically has adultery and then kills her husband, which they kind of get with this because he steals the duck and then he puts him in the front lines like he does in the original Bible story. But I think it kind of misses the point of the original story, which isn't about selfishness. It's just something David does. David really messes up. He it had painful consequences for him. It wasn't just easy to fix. The rest of his life was consequence. When he lost his child with her, and even though he was forgiven, it had painful consequences. I think that's more the point of the story than selfishness. Although selfishness is a good thing to teach kids. I think the original story, though, misses the point. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's based on David and Bathsheba, King George and the Ducky. And I think, although I love that they take this original story and make it more for kids, I think sometimes when you miss the point of the story, I think that's when it misses something. But I liked the felt that he told him the story of the lamb on felt. I thought that was really clever and funny. So yeah, okay, Esther, the girl who became queen. Okay, so another example of missing the point of the original story. God is not mentioned in the book of Esther, which teaches us what to do when God seems action. Some things that are missing in this story are the assassination attempt on the king where Mordecai discovers it and tells it to Esther. The exaltation of Mordecai, which was like the turning point of the story when the king could not sleep and they read him what Mordecai did. And then Haman is like, oh, exalts the person who the king wants to exalt. Turns out it was Mordecai, so then he does that, which is kind of the turning point of the story to me. Even though Esther hadn't saved the Jews yet. And then another interesting thing is that I didn't like how Esther remained scared the whole time, and the banquet was her like deciding not to do it instead of a deliberate smart move that saved the Jews. I get why they had to cut the Jews destroy their enemies in the kids show, but I think making the banquet like her getting scared, I mean, she's on a timetable here. I mean, she can't just coward her way out, get scared and decide, oh, let's throw a banquet instead. And then, oh, I'm going to tell you, and instead I'm going to throw a banquet. No, it wasn't like that in the story. It was actually a deliberate choice. So that kind of bothers me that they did that. I think it just kids about courage, yes, and standing up for those in need. But I think you could do that without missing the point of this, changing who Esther was. And she was very submissive. I mean, Mordecai told her to hide her identity for safety. She didn't hide it because she was scared. I mean, she was. It just missed it for me. Wasn't quite a landing. Still not bad, but not quite there for me either. Larry Boy and the Bad Apple. This is another Larry Boy story, this time about resisting temptation. Not bad, but not one of the better ones. I thought the whole web thing was kind of strange. But I liked how Larry Boy came in and told them and helped everybody. But I think resisting temptation, it didn't quite land for me, the execution of it. I liked the story. I liked the idea of it, but not really my favorite thing. So yeah. Next we have pretty good. The pretty good category, the little better than the D, but still not the best. Or amazing. So, yeah. Okay, so then we have The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This one was interesting because combining The Wizard of Oz with the Prodigal Son story from Luke. the I thought some of the cousin stuff with the look-alike characters, where in the original story, her friends from the farm show up, and the same actor plays them. You don't really understand why, but other than it's a dream to teach her to be content with her life. There's no place like home. Whereas based on the movie at least, in this version, he runs away, and they're cousins, distant cousins of the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion are actually distant cousins of the farmhands, which is really clever if you think about it. So I really enjoyed this one, and the lesson was beautiful on the father accepting his children. Again, accepting despite his mistakes and despite him running away and blowing his college fund. He still accepted him back because he loved him, which is so beautiful. I still didn't, it wasn't my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. Next we have The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, a VeggieTales movie. I saw this one in theaters. It is funny, entertaining, and truly teaches what it truly means to be heroes. Execution is a little lacking in my opinion. Some of the lines are funny, like "Take me back to 1972 and I'll walk from there." I thought that line was clever, and that the king in the end showed them that they were heroes and that the ball didn't make a mistake, even though they were so sure it had. Just a good solid movie. I thought the cheese curls thing was kind of weird, but I liked that they had everything that they needed to complete the task. It's pretty cool. Okay, Joshua and the Big Wall. Okay, so this is the story of Joshua and Jericho. Like how Bob said, this is stuff we added to our story. Making the kids aware isn't entirely accurate to the original story, and this one is about obedience, particularly obeying God. Which we have another obedience story, which is the pistachio story, one based on Pinocchio, which I have not seen. But this about obeying our parents. Like this one is mid compared to some of the others, though it's funny and entertaining. Sumo of the Opera. I thought this one was funny. It's about perseverance. Larry's on the phone about to give up on something. But we start with a silent movie from the caterpillar worm thing that he doesn't hear. Then he's like, when are you going to start that story? Then Bob says, buy me some time, I need to prepare something. Then we hear a silly song and an historically accurate retelling of St. Patrick. Then we get to Sumo of the Opera, which is very entertaining. Clever, but not as good as some of the others. So, also in this category are Duke and the Great Pie War. This one's is like this line about taking care of family. It starts with Miriam learning to love and care for Moses based on Exodus. Then the Pie War story, which is a retelling of the story of Ruth. I like the lessons on caring for family a lot. Just not one of my favorites. It's still very funny, and I liked how just caring for family is just a really good lesson for kids to learn. The next category is be really good. So this is a little better than the C category, but still not amazing or the best. St. Nicholas, a story of joyful giving. This one is a retelling of St. Nicholas at Santa. A great story about giving to others. Not my favorite, but still really good. I liked how the reindeer started out. That was really clever. And how they were like, they still told you this is not what Christmas is about. But I'm still going to tell you about St. Nicholas. And how it's about giving to others, joyful giving to others. Where's God when I'm scared? Gotta put this one in this category. This is the very first VeggieTales movie. I love the lesson of trusting God when you're scared, from Junior in the Scary Movie to Daniel in the Lion's Den. Great lesson and great stories. I love some of the songs, like "Oh No, What We Gonna Do?" That song. Probably shouldn't have sang it. So very solid. Next we have David and the Giant Pickle. God is bigger and greater than the enemies we face. Teach us about self-esteem, and we see ourselves how God sees us. I really enjoyed it. Very nostalgic too. It's one of the first ones I saw. Next we have Princess and the Pop Star. This one's really good, being content with who you are and not wishing for someone else's life. I love how it covers loneliness, how the pop star was lonely, yet she had what she thought she wanted, and everyone else thought she wanted. But then the girl, princess, didn't have what she wanted, but she needed to appreciate what she had, which is what the pop star wishes she had. So that's interesting. So anyway. Yep, that's that one. Okay, so the next category is amazing. Rakshak and Benny. This is the story of the fiery furnace about peer pressure. I really liked this one. I think I did get the point of the original story as well. Some of the others ranked lower, I thought missed the point of the story. This one didn't. This one got the point of the story. So yeah. Okay, Larry Boy the Fifth from Outer Space. One of the first ones I saw about telling the truth. Lies grow, and we tend to cover them up by telling more lies. The only way out is telling the truth. Great story and great lesson for kids. And for adults, too. I mean, lies grow. It's an important lesson to learn. So, yeah, that's that one. Ballad of Little Joe. The Western retelling of the story of Joseph. Hilarious yet touching. I really enjoyed this one. Ballad of Little Joe is very funny. Loud the Kylie Viking. This one's about sharing. I thought the retelling of Hamlet, Omelette, was so funny, especially for those like me who read the original play. I also enjoyed the second Lyle segment and jokes about musicals and whether you have to sing the whole time. I thought it had a good solid lesson in there. I liked Archibald trying to tell the story with the French bees. I thought it was entertaining. This one's really good and funny. That's why it's in the amazing category. Minnesota Cuke and the Search for Noah's Umbrella. This one is about doing the right thing even if people laugh at you. Very relatable message, very touching. It's a parody of Indiana Jones, so fun for those who are a fan of those movies. Okay, finally we have the best category. Minnesota Cuke and the Search for Samson's Hairbrush. About standing up to bullies, wonderful and great lesson. The first segment is Junior on the playground being bullied. The second is the Indiana Jones parody with Minnesota dealing with his bully, eventually befriending him. Professor Rattan, I believe is his name, so that one's really good. And then he learns why Samson really lost his strength, so that one's pretty good. Okay, It's a Meaningful Life. This is a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life. Excellent story, great music, a wonderful lesson on it's like God has a plan for your life and don't wish your life away. Everything is orchestrated, everything happens for a reason. And he wished he had caught that football. His life would have been better, but there were things in his life that were more important than winning a football game, like running that train factory for those who needed jobs. That's a wonderful lesson for kids. But the best is definitely my favorite is An Easter Carol. A beautiful retelling of a Christmas carol. I love the music and the lessons, especially Hope Song. The lesson is about the hope of Easter. So this is my favorite VeggieTales movie by far. I know I said some of them aren't in order. The best category is definitely in order of how much I love them. So that wraps it up for this video on VeggieTales tier. I hope you tune in for my future videos on talking more in depth about some of these movies I may do in the future. We'll see. Hope you enjoyed this one though. If you did, please leave a comment, subscribe. It means a lot to me. Do all that fun stuff. See you next time.